Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Tara and this is my sister Cassie.
And every morning we come together to give you guys our thoughts and opinions on the crypto market. Good morning, Tar.
Good morning. Is it
How you
still
doing?
morning? Oh yeah, okay. It is still morning. We're
I know,
coming a
we're
little bit
filming
late
later
with these
today.
updates. Yeah.
It feels weird.
Yeah, it does. But yesterday the market made a huge move, so we have a lot to get over in this video, so we should get right into it, right?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are on Bitcoin and we're zoomed out to the daily time frame. And so yesterday in our update, we had mentioned that Bitcoin is going to come up for that fifth wave and hit heavy resistance. We had targets from around 68,000 all the way up to around 68.7 thousand. And you can see with this daily candle alone, Bitcoin pumped over $5,000, which was up over about 7.8% in one daily candle. This is a huge move for Bitcoin. And this is really starting to confirm that Bitcoin is on that new trend. Remember, all of these subwaves are part of a larger wave, which will be up to a new high. And so just to remind you guys, that new high, that target that we have is still at 92.5K with possible shorter term resistance on the way up at 85.6K. So because we are coming up here to test this last all-time high, we believe that this is starting that new trend. And once we do break here, these are going to be the targets that we are looking out for. And so I just want to remind you guys that those are the full targets that we have for this next wave that we're currently working on. So in order to get, more of a detailed view and to see what we believe is going to be happening next on Bitcoin, we do need to zoom into the smaller time frames. So let's have Cassie take us in further and give you a closer look at what we're expecting.
Okay, guys, so here we are on the Bitcoin 1 hour. This is that bounce of that wave 2 off the trend line we're tracking for a while. And this is that major trend that is an obvious wave 3 that's formed since then. So we have targets on this wave 3 up towards 83,600. And then we think it's going to come down for sub wave 4 and probably back up to those larger targets that Tara just talked about. So we're tracking the 5 sub waves of this wave 3. So that's how zoomed in I am now. What you can see here is we're trying to find 5 sub waves of this trend here. And it is looking like this last wave here is our 5th wave. You can see that the high in price here did make a lower RSI. So it does look like this is overall is our wave 5. Getting zoomed in though, this looks kind of like a wave 4 just because of how large of a break that was. So anytime you have a large break like this, it usually doesn't end on that type of wave structure. That would be like a wave, sub wave 3. This would be a wave 4 coming down with possibly another touch that's even more exhausted or holding the trend. And I'm going to just drop it down even further to 30 minutes, just so you can clearly see these subwaves. So what I was talking about while those were clear is this is our wave 3 here, our sub wave 3, which is really clear on the chart. So we would have our sub wave 4 coming down with a possible new high right up to our next resistance level there, which would be at 73,300 up to 73,700 area, depending on where this lands. So right now for this sub wave 4, I'm just going to zoom in even more. It would typically be targeting the 382. So that's at 69,770. But in order for it to not be invalidated, we wouldn't want it breaking down all the way into 68,000. So it does have some room, like even on the 0.5 at 69,000 would be okay. We could have a really deep retrace at 68,400. That would still be okay. But each one of these will bring down our wave 5 extension. Right now, if we just have a really clean 382 bounce, that would be putting our 618 extension right at that 73,500 area, which aligns with the larger 618 extension for that total wave 5. So you can see how both of our waves align there. So we are getting alignment for a sub wave 4 to bounce off that 69,770. and then still come up for an exhausted high here at the 73,500. So I do want to point out here our RSI. So we do have a bearish trend that we can be tracking, because as this comes up for the wave 5, we would want it to still respect the bearish trend that it made previously, which is what it should be doing. You can see that it's pretty much at support here. So we could be dropping down quickly to the 382, or it could be done here for that wave 4, which would adjust our targets just slightly up here, which is still honestly right at the levels. So 74,000 as resistance if it doesn't need a new low there. So maybe I'll just leave it on the low that it has made, because I'll be adjusting that as it continues to go on. So it did break that local resistance here, or that local support, which might become resistance now. That's at 70,500. So it could be coming up to test that and still back down to that 382 target. So kind of got to follow along with the market and adjust this as it goes. As long as it stays within these local retraces here, we would still expect this exhausted new high here, which would complete just wave 1 of wave 3. So now that's just saying we're just trying to break down the subwaves, but honestly, this is a wave 3. It could just continue to pump up. So
that's what I was just going to say.
Also, this 618 extension at 83,600. That's just the 2618. It honestly could go even to the 3618. So I just wanted to say that there. So that'd be at 92,600. So you can, or
it could just do the 1618 too.
Yeah, I mean, it is aligning with right here is 1618. So that's at 74,600. So that could be. So I mean, it does look like resistance area. So that could be one. Yeah. So we could just be building a really large wave 3. It's going to be really unclear, I guess, for now.
Yeah, because it is part of the wave 3, we're looking for major impulses and minimal retracements and corrections. So this entire wave, we don't believe that it's going to do those proper like deep retraces for a wave 2. We believe it's going to just keep pumping and do minimal retraces until it hits that full target there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like we always should expect the wave 2, like have an add, for a wave 2 level, which I think this is what this is. So I think we should expect a wave 2, but as we've seen in Bitcoin's history, a lot of times it doesn't do like that proper wave 2 retrace.
Yeah, during a
but
wave
we should
3,
always expect it if it does, because that's how they throw off, traders, so that you're not in on the wave 3. So as it's building, this is just what we're tracking, and you can see that these new highs are creating a lower extreme on the RSI. So we're just trying to read the market as it develops.
Yeah. And like Casi mentioned yesterday, guys, because we are a part of that major wave 3, which we believe is going to send us like at least to 80,000, these are not times to short the market. You always want to trade with the trend. So we want to either de-risk and take profits along the way and add on the retraces. We don't ever want to go against the market, especially on a wave 3 up, and short the market. We want to just continue with the trend. So so we're going to continue to hold that until, like I said, Bitcoin reaches its wave 3 target. So all right, let's get over to Ethereum then. Okay, so here we are in Ethereum on the daily time frame, and take a look at the move that Ethereum has made, because I showed you the volume on Bitcoin on these higher time frames, but look at how significant the volume is on Ethereum, which has formed significantly for these major overall moves on Ethereum. So this is huge volume here. You can see that the candle yesterday went up over 19%, over $590 just in this one daily candle. So this is absolutely insane. This is confirming that wave 3 of the new trend. So this is still within those wave 3 targets coming up here. You can see the RSI made a new high or a new extreme on these pushes up here. This is just signaling to us that this is not done yet. So on Ethereum, we should be expecting new highs and at least, minimal retracements like we've been saying, and then a new high coming up here. And it's just showing that the market is not exhausted yet. So in order for us to determine those retracements and see what's going to be happening next, we do have to zoom in a little bit. So let's have Casi zoom us in here and give you a closer look at what's going on.
Okay, so here we are in Ethereum 30-minute chart, you guys, and I haven't adjusted this at all. You can see that Ethereum has perfectly come to to that 2618 extension at 37.90. So that's an extended third wave target, and it is forming that fifth wave top. Looks like a perfect wave 3, to be honest. Yeah, so this just looks really clean and strong here. So now I'm going to show you guys how to get the retraces for wave 4 as it starts to come down, because it does look like it's forming a top at this last high that it had, and a pretty significant top here. You can see how much lower the strength was right at that fib target. So this is really giving me indication that it's going to start coming down for this subwave 4. So we're just going to use our fib retracement levels there and go down to our bottom of our wave 2, and then come all the way up to the high that it just made. And then you can see I kind of eyeballed our wave 4, but it was pretty close. Our wave 4 targets would be at $3,460. So as it starts to come down, these levels here will be really significant for our wave 4. We could get some more shallow wave 4s. So we could see like even just 3,600 or 3,700, but the textbook target for wave 4 is this 382, and that's at 3,460. Yeah. This is where wave 4 should go. So I think in the next day or so, I do think that we should be coming down to some of these, one of these support levels here.
Yeah, we're going to be tracking the ABC as it drops, guys, and you can see the 118 is right at that last high for that subwave 3 of 3. So there could be short-term support there for the subwave of wave 4. And then it also looks like, you know, there's a lot of alignment around that 382 where we have that 1618 that it broke out of. And then we have that 236, and then also that main 382 for wave 4. Yeah. So I do think, you know, the C wave of this wave 4 will come down to that Fibonacci trend line there too. Right.
We do have to watch out for wave 4 creating a triangle. And in that case, it would come to the target first.
Right away,
and form a triangle from there. So you can look at our RSI. So wherever this RSI support, you know, is met in price, it's probably going to hold that support, I'm assuming, on the RSI. So whatever one level it reaches, as it reaches that support level, will probably be our pivot, is my guess, which could be around here. Yeah. So I think in the next day, that's what we're going to look for on Ethereum. So if it does continue to make a higher high, it'll probably still be a wave 3 because it hasn't properly retraced at all for wave 4 if it does. And then we would just continue to slightly pull up our fib set as it does, and then still targeting 382. So
because that 382 does look like it could come up a little bit.
Yeah, it does. So
what high would that be? Yeah,
like 3870. You know, 3870 it could come up too, and still be, you know, perfect. But even right now, this is pretty good.
All right, let's get over to XRP then.
Okay. Ow!
I'm definitely keeping that in the video. All right, so here we are on XRP on the daily time frame, and XRP has come right back into the triangle, and it's reclaimed back into the triangle. So this is a really good sign for XRP. Looks like it broke out just today up above it. Keep in mind, we do have our next resistance at 57 cents. And then depending, like we've mentioned before, we have to keep an eye on the price action as we reach these levels, because it did break up above it. So we might need to come back down to test the bottom of the triangle here for support, or if it comes up to test that resistance first. So we're going to be adjusting our plan, you know, with what the price action does within this next couple of days or so, because if it does come up first without testing the bottom here, then we might need to come down, like I said, to test the bottom. Or if we break out above the triangle right now, then we're going to come down and test the top of the triangle as support. Take a look at this daily RSI, because we did make a new high on the RSI. It's very strong. So this is just like I've mentioned before, this is showing us that this is not topped yet, at least on our macro view. We will get some new highs in here. So it does look like almost like it's lining up perfectly to come up to the top of the triangle around 57 cents and test that resistance. So that's something that we're going to be watching for very closely over the next few days or so on XRP. So let's have Casi zoom us in here and see if she can get any further indication of what's going on.
Yes, Tar.
I'm so excited about XRP. But Cass, your chart, I can't see your chart again. It's completely black. There we go.
Okay, you guys. So here we are on the XRP 30-minute chart. And you can see this is just continuing to push higher prices despite Bitcoin's wave 4 low. So this is an extremely good sign of strength. We are getting signs of exhaustion, but I think it's just continuing to push through these. We should be expecting volatility. So I do think that it could be just trying to reach this top resistance here, like right now at that 50. So right now it's at 56.5 cents, up to 57.5 cents. So those are our next two resistance levels. But you can see that it is forming like bearish tops on these RSIs. So even as you zoom into like 15 minutes smaller, all of these are really losing strength, but it is just continuing to push. We did get a little bit of a test on that bottom trend line. I know that on the daily, on the daily, it was hard to see, but it is a little bit of a test if you want to call it that. But we need to still expect another test as long as we're still within these triangle prices. And then like you mentioned, it could break up and then continue to build support above. So this is really exciting on XRP. If this is the start of the new trend, that's our first resistance target there at the 0.575, even 61.8. So this is another target for that wave 3 if we just continue to get lots of volume in here, which would be a really, really good sign. So the more volume, the better, but keep in mind that we do have tests that will need to flip to support. So it could get really choppy for a little bit, and just look how close we are. I think we gave plenty of warning as we were at supports. I think what's next is a breakout out of this triangle. So
maybe we can get retracements for wave 4. I'm wondering, or I'm hoping that the wave 4 will support above that 618, which it does look like it will, but that could be, or like with it, like right now, Cass, with this high it's already made, it's right at the 118, right?
No, I mean, or the 382
is the bottom of the triangle. That 236 is right on the 618.
All of these are really critical levels, honestly. And ones we've already pretty much called out through other degrees, you know. So the 618, the bottom of the triangle. I mean, this one is pretty significant here, this 5.5.
In order for us to really determine if this is just going to keep pumping, that 118 is very significant at 551. So
so
it's there right now.
This is a level that we've determined that if it comes, or we've noticed that if it comes to here, it and bounces, it could keeps continuing to make new highs. So a lot of times this is support, but if it breaks down, it breaks further into the correction. So it's testing that right now, as you can see, and it is so close to the end of this triangle. It's unbelievable. This is definitely the wave that will get us out of here, because if you just think about timing, we don't have enough time for it to come down and break down below again, you know. So with timing, this is it. This is our chance right here to break out of here.
So guys, as long as it's holding 551, we still should expect that full target for the third wave at 57.5 or so. If it does break down 551, then we should expect another test to the 618 at 54, or the bottom of the triangle at 53.
Or even here, like any of these could be tested. But so if you really are, like we say in all of our updates, if you really are trying to track, you know, which exact specific level it's going to right now, so maybe you're zoomed in trading or haven't added to your portfolio, these would be the levels, and you would drop it down even further. So you go to like 15 minute and really start to watch as it starts to come down. So this one even more, I would drop it down even more, and you can see it just doesn't look completed here at this 118. So probably will get a deeper retrace here. So that's just how you would do that. We're just zoomed out here on the 1 hour. So I think it's close, and like I said, I think that this is the chance to get out of the triangle. So there's not much time left for it to mess around anymore. That's for sure.
And we've mentioned this, you know, a while ago, but all of the subwaves have formed in this entire triangle. Obviously, it's been so long, but all of the necessary waves have formed. So that's why we believe that this push here, if it does break it this time, this is what's going to send it, because all of the necessary waves have formed. Everything's done for this entire triangle. So we're just waiting for that volume to come in and that push to get us off to that new wave. So this is really exciting because it looks like it's the start of that. So that's why we're getting really excited.
Yeah. Yep. So all the waves, meaning all of the A, B, C, D, E have been completed. Yep. And this would be on to that new trend to new all-time highs. So this would be that new wave sending us up past previous resistances, which we've talked about, I think, in a few videos where XRP is headed. I have targets anywhere from $8 to $13 as the breakout. But if you think on a macro scale, any breakout up towards 8 to 13 would probably come down to test previous all-time highs. So from 290 to 380, whatever it was, it would come back down to test that as support. So that's something to think about, is that even on these smaller time frame techniques and strategies, they apply to that larger move too. So a big push will have to come
I think 8 would be the 5th wave, because I've measured out the subwave 3, which we have resistance at 350, the last all-time high, and then the next one's 5, and then 8 is that final 5th wave that we've measured. So it really depends on, like we've said, what the market does when it reaches those levels.
It does. We need to be able to analyze it and read it as it approaches those. But essentially, I don't even think that it's really going to be done from there. So we have that breakout price essentially, and then we come back down to test the support, and then we have further new highs from there. So I think that larger scope, that's the plan. And this is really the zoomed in start of that. So I think if you can see that macro scale, that's where you get excited, because you see it building that. And I think we're headed there. So thank you guys so much for watching today's update, and we will be back tomorrow with another one.